What's the worst thing that a guy said to you that in his mind was a compliment?
So I have so many stories that I could stitch to this video. But one that really stuck out with me and that has always kind of like been in the back of my mind. I had a cousin that lived with me and he played football, and one day he was like hanging out with his buddies or whatever. And one of them was like, dude, Bailey would be so pretty if she just wasn't fat. My cousin took it as like, oh my God, this guy just called you pretty. Like, I'm going to tell you about it. And he came home and he was super excited to tell me that so-and-so said I was pretty. And I was like, but why can't I be pretty if I'm fat? Like, why does my weight have anything to do with who I am as a person? You already think my face is pretty, but because I have a fat stomach and thick thighs and a flabby freaking arm, I have 2 arms, but like flabby arms, I can't be pretty. No, sir, you are the ugly one.
So I was talking to this guy and we were dating or whatever, and we had went on 2 or 3 dates. And by now, I figured, it was the time to tell him that I have herpes. So I told him that I had herpes, and I said, if it's a deal breaker, that's cool, just tell me. And he was like, well, it's a deal breaker, but you're a really strong person, because if I were you, I would kill myself.
So if you know me, I have no filter, and I tend to say things that come to mind, like, immediately. So one day, I decided to stop by the grocery store just to get some things that I needed, and there's this dude, like, standing in the doorway. And he proceeds to do something like this. Girl, you look so good. I could put you on a plate and eat you up. Girl, you look so good. I could just eat you up. To which my immediate response is to go, no. I thought it was funny. Apparently he didn't think so. So then he proceeds to follow me around the grocery store, telling me that I need to accept his compliment, and how else would I know that I'm pretty, and how he wasted his time on me. When I told him to leave me alone, he started calling me a bitch and a whore and a stupid fucking loser, to the point where the grocery store manager had to physically remove him.
So I was at a party and the guy told me that I was so excitable, and I reminded him of his dog.
This was before I came out. Went on a date with this guy and we decided to just have a couple drinks at the bar. At the end of the date, he wanted to pay for his drinks and my drinks. So I said, no man, I'm gonna pay for my drinks. And he asked, why? And I said, because I believe in equality. And he went, thank God. For a moment, I thought you were a feminist.
So when my ex and I first started dating, he would compare me to his ex-girlfriend constantly. Oh, you're so much prettier than her. You're so much funnier than her. The one thing that really never left me was this. Your vagina is so much better than hers. Excuse me? First of all, when you're down there in my business, you should be thinking, wow, sweet package, not thinking of your ex-girlfriend. Second of all, big fuck you for sitting there and blatantly disrespecting her right in front of me, putting her down to put me up. Like, you think that makes me feel good? It fucking doesn't. That's like literally the most backhanded compliment ever. And if you're the type of guy to put down your ex-girlfriend in front of the new girl, it's because you're a sorry asshole and you're still hurt, and putting her down makes you feel better. Like, here you are talking terrible words of someone that you once loved. Like, am I going to be that one day? Am I going to be the ex-girlfriend on the hot seat that you put down in front of the new girl? Like, it shows a lot about your fucking character. If the ex-girlfriend for some reason sees this, Jesus Christ, I'm so fucking sorry, and you are perfect just the way you are.
So I was talking to this guy that my parents set me up with because I'm brown. And after a couple weeks of talking, this man told me that he showed pictures of me to his friends, and he told me that his friends hated me. He said that his friends thought that I was extremely ugly and that I was fat, and that he deserved someone that was a little less educated so that she could stay at home and cook, and he deserved someone that was thinner. And the worst part is not that he told me this. The worst part is that he legitimately believed that he was edgy and different and forward thinking for not liking skinny girls or for liking women that are educated. Disliking women because they're thin or disliking women because they want to stay at home is still sexism, my guy. You're not cool for liking fat girls.
Well, this raw tofu really looks at me and goes, I don't date Indian women, but for you I'd make an exception. Well, you mean to tell me that you looked past all the sunflowers in the garden, the roses, the earth, the sun goddesses, the red lipsticks, the spice queens, the milk and honey, the saffron and silk. You looked past it all and you picked me. You chose me. You love me. Oh, well, my artificial vanilla wafer, I am so honored. I've been waiting for this day my entire life. Now we can finally go to your family gatherings and I can be the only brown person there. And we can eat bland food for the rest of our lives and maybe we can joke about 7-Eleven and 9/11 and about all other minorities. Because that sounds like so much fun and none of this would be possible if you hadn't picked me.
Okay, so a couple of years ago when I was at university, I was talking to a man on Tinder. And he wanted to meet up and go to a water park for our first date, and I was a bit like, no thank you, can we just like do something else? And he was like, oh no, why, like why don't you want to go? And I obviously had to be like, I'm not very comfortable with my body, I don't like it, I'm not going to feel comfortable in somewhere, so could we just do something else? And he was like, what are you talking about? Oh my gosh, you're so sexy, you're so beautiful, like I don't think you understand, like I love fat women. And I was like, this is done, sir. Good day.
My high school boyfriend, on our second date, we were walking down the street and he was telling me that he liked my outfit or whatever. And then he goes, oh, you have a really pretty face. And I was like, oh, thanks. Kind of like, you know, a weird thing to say, but all right. And he's like, yeah, I'd love to cut it off and wear it. And I laughed because I thought, oh, surely this must be just a bad joke. He didn't laugh. And he just looked at me weird when I laughed. So we dated for almost 3 years.
I got one. So I was hooking up with this guy. And we were about to, get there. He pulls me on top of him, whispers in my ear, I'm not afraid of big girls. Get out! Why would you say that to me in that moment?
So in college, I was talking to this guy who was super religious, which wasn't a problem until we were hanging out in the common area of my dorm. And I was wearing leggings with like a hoodie, I think. Keep in mind, this was before the days of the famous leggings, the ones I'm talking about that separate your cheeks, These were just basic, generic leggings. He goes, you look really good in those leggings, a little too good. So I'm gonna have to ask you to go and change. I was like, okay. First of all, thank you. But I don't really care if you're looking at my butt, it's fine. Thank you for letting me know though. And he was like, no, you don't understand. You're causing me to lust, which is a sin. So you need to go change right now. I was like, okay. And I walked down the hall to my room and didn't come back out.
Okay, so for a bit of context, where I live, it's low-key like racist, but everything's normalised here, so they don't see it as being racist as much, it's kind of ignorant, but I'm not actually from here, so like the bells, they go off. Everything this guy said to me, he was being dead serious, by the way. He said to me that my skin was the perfect colour of a cup of tea. He then said to me that he likes me because I'm mixed, but he'd be in love with me if I was white. This last bit was not meant to be a compliment. He was just letting me know. By the way, I was like 14 and he was 16 at the time, so I was naive and dumb as fuck. But I did stop talking to him after this. Oh, he told me that he'd never bring me home to his parents because I was black. Yeah.
Okay, I absolutely hate when men say this and they think it's a compliment, but it's so offensive. So this one time I was rushing to the DMV and I was stopped by a man and he basically, asked, oh, can I get your Instagram and your phone number? And I'm like, no, sorry, politely, I'm in a rush. And he goes, are you full Asian? And I'm like, yeah, I'm full Chinese. And he's like, wow, you're really pretty for an Asian woman. you don't typically see them with like a big what?